They say to take only memories and leave footprints, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to capture the forest and the beauty using my top 10 tricks and tips so that you know exactly what to do the first time. I want you to live in the moment and not spend time capturing it. So look at these 10 tips that you can know what to do by just using your phone. So let's dive into tip number 1, and that is all about your camera angles. What we typically do is we hold our phone at eye level and we see basically what we see at the same level that our phone is at, or the height in which we are at, whatever the case may be, right? The most typical way, hold your phone and you're good to take a picture. But what if we did something a little bit different? What if instead of eye level, we actually brought the camera right down to the bottom of the ground, right? We're taking pictures in the forest. So what does that end up looking like? Well, here's the final result. It's not at eye level anymore. I brought the phone all the way down, and you can see that that angle just gives you a little bit more depth and a little bit more beauty when you're taking a picture of the forest. Now, look what happens when you look up and you bring that phone all the way up. And what ends up happening is you get this beautiful view of the trees looking all the way up into the sky. I feel like that's part of the forest that we sometimes forget, is the beauty when we look all the way up and we see that sun shining through the trees. And tip number 2 is all about camera movement. You want to keep it smooth, but keep it meaningful. That's the part where people just start to take a video and they don't think about the story that's underneath it. Think about maybe pushing your camera into the scene to bring your audience in, or lifting your camera up to reveal something. The forest is such an incredible place with all kinds of different foliage and flowers and ferns and grass. You can really use these to really reveal something in your video. Or maybe you're going to pull your camera away so that you can end that scene, as a way of ending that story. So you'll notice here, if you watched our video from day 3, this is the beginning of Faye Chappell's Buddha video. And what we did is we did this sort of sweeping section so that it kind of came into where she started talking. So we sort of brought it sideways to reveal what she was talking about. This is another one that we did, same thing. And this is sort of what it turned out. We sort of brought the camera through the grass and revealed, Linda speaking. Another way that you can do it is the top down. So starting sort of in the sky and bringing it down through the trees so that you can then reveal the person who's speaking. And then the best one that I just love, which a lot of people don't end up doing, and that kind of goes back to the first one when we started talking about camera angles, and that is to turn your phone upside down. So this would typically be the, eye level first thing that you would see. But look what ends up happening when you turn your camera upside down and you bring it right down to the ground. You can actually end up seeing the sky, and then this is what it looks like as the finished product. And I just really love that movement, that turning your camera upside down can really give you a different viewpoint in regards to the picture, and you really get a really cool image. And tip number 3 is all about the accessories. You can see in a lot of my videos so far, I'm literally in love with my gimbal. They're not that expensive, and it really does give you those smooth shots. It enables you to get really low and get those different angles. You make your videos really smooth, so you don't have to worry about those jerky movements, especially if you're doing selfies. And here I am on the water. You can see that, I'm able to move around, but the actual video itself does not move, and it's not a jerky movement, especially if you're, stepping over a rock, or you step on a stick, or you kind of lose your balance a little bit. the gimbal auto adjusts. So if you are going to be doing any video, or you are going to be doing anything, that involves outside, or you want to do selfie video or anything along those lines, I highly, highly, highly recommend this particular product. If you're interested in knowing which one I'm using, the link is down below in the description. But yeah, this has pretty much been a game changer for me. In regards to the videos that we were doing. Like I said, when we were talking about those smooth movements, this has really helped. So not necessary. You can absolutely do everything that you need to do just by holding the phone. But if you do want to take your videos to the next level, this has definitely been a game changer for us. So take a look at that and enjoy. There's all kinds of different accessories that you can get for your phone. So don't think you just have to use that. One of the other things that we used as well was a mic. And what you can do is get an external mic that you clip onto your shirt or whatever, and then the other part just clips right into your phone, and you can really speak quite a distance away. So again, in Faye Chappell's Buddha video, I'm quite a distance away, so we used a mic that was attached to her, and then of course it transmitted right to my phone when I was recording it. So those are the two accessories that we used in the videos, but the gimbal has been my favorite. Absolutely. And tip number 4 is all about slowing it down for slow motion. It is a setting on your camera, but this allows your audience to take in more information and appreciate the beauty of the shot. You can see here, again, on Faye's Buddha video, you can just see the leaves moving just slightly in the background as we go through her meditation. I just want to sit here and breathe and enjoy how slow the video is moving in the background. Now I did take it to the beach so you can see how fast the waves are moving, but when I was in slow motion, look at how beautiful the waves are. You can see them in slow motion and it really brings you in. And tip 5 is all about those different lenses that you have in your camera. You have standard, you have wide angle, and we have zoom. So basically what we're looking at here is the zoom. So you see that 1 times is your standard, 3 would be zoom, and then the 0.5, which is the one that I love the most, is wide angle. So it really gives you a much wider perspective. It's almost like a fisheye, which is really cool. So basically, typically, again, we grab our camera and we go into standard mode. But what I encourage you to do is try out that wide angle, because sometimes you just can't seem to get everything in when you use that wide angle. Or try that zoom lens, because that's really cool too. So basically what we end up seeing with the wide angle shot, this is the final view. And when we zoomed in, this is the final view that we get. So play around with those settings, pick up your camera. Yes, you can try the standard, but you know what? Try to zoom in a little bit. What kind of angle and different perspectives does that give you? And then definitely try that wide angle shot. And sometimes what you can do is do a wide angle and then get a little bit closer so you can see different perspectives with those different lenses and those different viewpoints. Here at Forest 17, we do have our wonderful chickens that we love. So I just wanted to show them to you in the middle of this video. Hi, chickens. And for tip number 6, I asked my good buddy Oz here to pose so that we could get a fantastic picture of him. The great thing about our phones is that we have something called portrait mode. And if you have a newer phone, we have something called cinematic mode. And portrait mode gives you this amazing focus on your subject and a blurred background. And that's what people love when they're taking portraits and you get those professional photos done. They end up, using this thing called an f-stop and they blur the background. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second, but let's just take a moment and enjoy this beautiful photo of my buddy Oz, who did such a good job, I have to say, with our session here. And he was very, very patient. So basically, this is what it looks like. You can see I'm moving the f-stop back and forth. And what that means is the lower the f-stop, the more blur your background is going to have. So that's our photo of Ozzy. And you can do exactly the same thing in cinematic mode, except it's a video. So a little bit harder to see in this one, but you can see that I'm taking a video and you have that blurred background. And here's what it looks like without the screen record. So again, he was such a great subject. You can see that blurred forest in the background, and you can see that the focal point is him, and he's very, very clear. So it really makes your photos and videos so professional. So I encourage you to try those out. Try portrait mode. You can, try different natural lighting and cinematic lighting, and you can try all of those kind of things. And then the cinematic mode as well. And remember, the lower the f-stop, the more blurred the background will be. The higher, the more clear it is. So it really gives you that amazing depth of field. And go try these on portraits. You can try them on your pets. And don't be afraid to try it on objects, but I'll talk about that here in a few minutes. One thing that nature has going for it is the incredible natural light. And lighting is tip number 7. Check out the sun. Watch for the sun. Try taking pictures at different parts during the day, and you'll be amazed at how different everything looks. The forest is always ready for its close-up. And that's why tip number 8 is all about getting close. I find a lot of people take a lot of nature photos from far away, but look what can happen when you get really, really close. Your camera will adjust to how close you are. You don't have to worry about it, and you can really look in and look close at the flowers. And don't be afraid to use portrait mode. And even though it says move further away, don't worry about that. That's okay, because you know what? You end up with some fantastic images. Look at this. This is just my regular camera. Nothing. I haven't zoomed. I haven't wide angled. I've used no perspective except just bring it a little bit closer to the flower. And this is one that I got a little bit closer in a different angle. And then of course, this is the final result when you use portrait mode. So like I said before, yes, you can use portrait mode on people or your pets, and you can also use it on objects. So what it ends up doing is, again, focusing on the object and blurring the background, which really made this yellow flower pop. And since I love the color yellow, this one I was definitely drawn to. So there's lots going on in the forest, whether there's ferns, flowers, different parts of the tree, so much going on and beauty that you can really capture. So take a look around, and yes, you can take those wide angle shots and get everything in, but sometimes you want to get really close to get that specific object or that specific thing that's in the forest that really captures your eye. And tip number 9 is all about people. Yep, the trees, the forest, the leaves, and the flowers, they're always ready for their close-up. And as much as the forest can be beautiful on its own, it creates an amazing backdrop for portraits of family and friends. Or in my case, Faye Chappell, who's enjoying herself during our photo shoot here and showing what we can do here with the forest in the background. The one thing that I just want to remind you is move your camera around when you're taking pictures of people. You think, oh, this beautiful, backdrop would be amazing. But as you can see, when we move the camera around to get a couple of different angles, the lighting can change, the background can change, the way the person is sitting or looking at you can change. So play around with that a little bit while you're doing your shoot and use the beautiful forest as the perfect backdrop. And the last tip is tip number 10, and that is to be creative. There are lots of things that you can do both on your phone, that you can just try different things out. And one of the ways that I love to be creative is to switch over to panoramic mode. A lot of people think panoramic mode is just sort of going back and forth, but what happens if you turn your phone sideways? Hang on, you don't have to turn your head. I got you. So when you turn your phone sideways, you can literally start right from the bottom of your photo and go all the way up, especially when you want to get the tip and top of that tree. but you have to make sure that that arrow is on the yellow line. So no laughing because I couldn't get there. But basically, this is what you end up with. You know, when you kind of try to get that photo with just holding your phone, sometimes you can't get it all in, and that wide angle sometimes gives you too much. So when I'm creative, I grab my pano mode and start from the bottom and go all the way up. And it really gives you that whole image, especially when you're taking a picture of a tree. And my son decided to be creative as well. He was at the beach and he used pano mode as well. And he ended up getting part of the sand, ended up getting a silhouette, and then the sunset and the sky in the background. So I think this is a really cool picture as well. And he used pano mode for this one as well when you turn your phone sideways. So that's just one more sort of my last tip on being creative. Grab your phone, go outside, check out all the different options, all the different features that you can use right on your phone to ensure that you capture the forest.